Good morning. Namaste to everyone. Let's start the class with the prayers. Om Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Parbrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Om Bhu Bhuva Swaha, Tat Savitra Varenayam, Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi, Dhiyo Yo Nah Prachodayat. Asto ma satgamya, tamso ma jyotirgamya, mrityorma amritam gamya. Om sehna vavtu, sehna bhunaktu, saviryam karvavahi, tejasvi navadhitamastu, ma vidvishavahi. Om shanti 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 om. We all know that majority of mankind is searching for happiness. All our actions we do because we want to be happy. Yet very few seem to find anything that approaches the happiness in their lives. Sometimes for a little while we are somewhere or with somebody and we think that we are happy. That is not a lasting happiness. Either that person or object is taken away from us or we get bored from it. So again, we are in the same unhappy mood. People even seek power, status, material possessions for happiness. But in return, most people suffer from fear, hatred, insecurity, ulcers, heart attacks, mental disturbances, etc. So they did everything to get happiness, but in return, they got extreme unhappiness. But our rishis, they do talk about that there is a way, there is a path towards happiness in life. Which is very simple. It's simpler than the other path, easier than the other path. So simple, this path, that people never try or even think of trying it. They think it's simple, it's not going to work. We need to increase our awareness to dive deep into the infinite depths of our mind. It is here where we'll find the peace, we'll find the happiness, which will transcend all other types of happiness, which we have experienced in the outer world. When you know your deeper mind, you will know that all the conflicts, all the pettiness, it was not important. You will still live in the world. You will still do your work. You will still interact with other people, but you will feel a continual state of contentment, a state of peacefulness. You will be in contact with that which has a meaning. And that's why all these rishis, all these yogis, they have given us the method. And the method to attain this is to meditate. To meditate. All of us know subconsciously, maybe perhaps consciously, that the spiritual path exists. And we all know it does lead somewhere. We know that it's not just a wishful thinking on the part of few people with their heads in the cloud. The great saints, highly evolved personalities have said the same thing using different words. All of them have said, look within and know thyself. Because we are constantly looking outside, and they have been instructing us to look within. For example, Christ said, the kingdom of God is within you. Another great philosopher said, man, know thyself, and thou shalt know the universe. All the Eastern religions, they say the same thing. Paramhans Ramakrishna, you have heard about him? He said the fabled musk deer searches the whole world over for the source of the scent which comes from within. We are all familiar with Bhagavad-Gita. Lord Krishna says meditation is better than intellectual knowledge. Dhyan. So that's why we got to learn from these great personalities, from their experiences. The path of evolution, of our personality to self-realization towards the truth does not lie in the outside world. It lies within you, within your own being, only waiting to be discovered. It's already there, but we have never paid attention to it. So that's why we must dive deep inside ourselves to find that which has been always there and was even there before our birth. So the choice is ours. Either we continue to devote all our attention to fumbling around in the outside world, we have that choice, or we can start to develop a new direction inward and follow the advice of these wise men. And you don't have to give up your present lifestyle. All you have to do is to supplement it with spiritual aspiration and practices of yoga. And then you will see how beautifully transformation happens. But there's a warning. Do not expect to be able to attain a high state of meditation on your first attempt. Okay? So gradually, slowly. Because awareness of most of the people in the beginning stays only in the outer layers. So it takes time to dig deeper into your mind, to clean your mind. And what happens when we meditate? When we meditate, we take our consciousness to the different parts of your mind first. And this is the experience of most of the people who start to meditate. They become aware of deep-rooted complexes. They didn't even know that these existed. They realize that they have fears and they need to get over those fears. Those obstacles need to be left behind. Any kind of a negativity, anger, hatred, depression, those could be complexes in us. We need to get over those. And once these fears are confronted, they can be removed and greater happiness, contentment, peace is attained. So with the help of our own life, with the help of the messages which we hear from the masters, we just become comfortable to go deeper and deeper and deeper inside us. Another thing happens. The consciousness becomes aware of the activities that control the bodily functions. So So in other words, this body it functions better when we know who we are. You will see that's why the people who meditate regularly, you will see light shining from their personality. You will see that their health is recovered. Their calmness, restfulness of their mind is recovered. So higher states of meditation definitely difficult to attain in the beginning. The compulsive fear is not removed right away. Compulsive anger is not removed right away. But if we really stay with our practices, with our sadhana, they do get removed. And culmination of meditation is self-realization. Remember that. Culmination. It's not one time you sit in the meditation or go for some meditation retreat and you have become self-realized. No, culmination. And this occurs when we transcend even the higher mind. Higher mind. So the aim of meditation is to explore the different regions of the mind and eventually to transcend the mind completely. We cannot transcend the mind unless we do the practice. Because this is not something physical. It's not like some old sofa sitting and we can just ask somebody else to take it out. This is very much part of our personality. There are so many deeper layers of this personality. So we need to slowly chip it away. Chip it away. Okay? So daily meditation is extremely important. That's the reason I just went through this little bit with you. Today we're going to start the next chapter of Avadhuta. You all are familiar with this little book, which has 271 verses, and 271 verses divided into 8 chapters. 8 chapters. We saw that first chapter of Dattatreya is called Avadhuta also, Dattatreya also. That's why this is called the Avadhuta Gita and this is called a Datta Gita also. This is also called a Datta Gita Yoga Shastra also. So there's so many different names for the same scripture. So first chapter deals with the nature of the Atma. He told us this Atma is omnipresent, omnipotent, omniscient. Then in the second chapter, he gave us the proofs for the same. In the third and the fourth chapter, inner nature of the Atma, he explained in a very poetical tone. Then in the fifth chapter, he gave us advice to avoid all the lamentations. Because Atma is the same in all the conditions. He said, why are you worried? Why do you cry? Why do you have a fear? All those lamentations. He said, don't waste time on that. Atma is same. You are same. Then in the sixth chapter, which we are going to start today, we'll see that how beautifully he is negating all kinds of distinctions. And these distinctions are on the basis of Prakriti, the non-self. No distinctions in the self. Self is the same everywhere, no matter where we see it. So what are these distinctions? They could be according to caste or family. We say my family, your family. Or distinctions in the senses. Eyes are different than the ears. They have a different function. Hands do different, but the nose does. Or the distinctions in the objects, they look different. Tree looks different than the table. Or even the mind or the intellect or their activities. Because none of these exist when we look at them from the standpoint of the Atma. This is what he's going to discuss in this chapter. And this chapter has 27 verses. After that, we have two more chapters, chapter 7 and 8. Those are little shorter chapters. And seventh chapter, he will describe the state of Avadhuta. When we become Avadhuta, how is it? And then in the 8th chapter, he gives us a definition of the word Avadhuta by interpreting each of the syllables of that word. Okay? So let's look at chapter number 6 today.
Hersh, you stop the video. Okay.
Okay, let's look at verse number 1 in chapter number 6. Bahuda shrutyaha pravadanti vayam viyadadi idam यदि च एक निरंतर सर्व शिवम उपमेयम अथ हि उपमः च कथम. Bahuda means several or many, like many ways. Shrutya, Vedas. I'm sure you're all familiar with this term now. Shruti, the Vedas. Pravadanti, narrate. Vayam means we. Viyadadi. Viyadadi means, see, Adi means etc. Viyad means is sky, air, fire, water, earth, etc. So all these elemental forces, okay, all 5. So Viyad Adi. Idam means this, Mrig Toe Sai Samam. So Mrig is the deer. Toya means water. Okay. So Samam means like. So deer, water or thirst is like. Yadi means if, cha means and, ek means one. Nirantra, eternal. Sarv all, Shivam, blissful. Upameyam, comparable, like upama. Atha means now. He means therefore. Upma, comparison or simile. Cha means and, katham means how. So in this chapter, we'll see the third line is repeated. In the last chapter, we saw the fourth line was repeated in every verse. Over here, the third line. Yadi cha ek nirantra sarva shivam. That is the line. So the Upanishads tell us, the Vedas tell us in various ways that space, earth, and etc. are like water in a mirage. Okay, so Mrig Toy means a mirage. If Brahm alone is the indivisible, supreme, blissful beatitude, how can it be a subject of comparison or have any peer? So that means there's nothing but Brahm everywhere. Nothing but Brahm. So he says that Upanishads of the Vedas, those seers, they are telling us in so many different ways. Whatever we see in the Prakriti, it's like a mirage. That means it's not Sat. It appears to be Sat to us, but actually it's not. So just like a mirage. Sure, it appears like water is there, but once you go there, there's no water, it's just a reflection. Okay. So if Brahm alone is the indivisible, see, that is the key word over here. Brahm alone is indivisible. That's why he has repeated this again and again. Yadi cha ek nirantar sarv shiv. Okay, sarv shivam over here does not mean that the power of destruction, Lord Shiva. The Shiv means blissful, beatitude. That's what it means. Okay, another term for this is Brahm. Avibhakti, vibhakti, vihin param. ननु कार्ये विकार्ये विहीन परम यदि एक निरंतर सर्व शिवम यजनम च कथम तपनम च कथम. अविभक्ति, नॉन डिविजन. विभक्ति, डिविजन. विहीन, absence of. Param means supreme. Nanu, not at all. Okay. Karye, cause. Vikarye, effect. Vihinam, absence of. Param means supreme. Yadi, if. Cha means and. Ek, one. Nirantar, eternal. Sarv, all. Shivam, blissful. Yajnam, worship or ritual. Cha means and. Katham, how. Tapnam, austerities, tapasya. Cha means and, katham means how. Brahm is neither divided nor undivided. Indeed, it is free from action and modifications. If Brahm alone is the indivisible supreme beatitude, where is the possibility of performing worship and austerities? Okay. So worship and the austerities are the means to attain this blissful state. Normally, we just keep on arguing and fighting which worship, which ritual is better. Whichever will take you to that state of mind. For somebody, it could be just meditation is better. Upasana is better. For somebody, it could be seva is better. For somebody, it could be yajna is better. So any of these means which can take you towards this indivisible, supreme beatitude. Okay. So means, remember what is the mean and what is the goal. Do not get lost and do not waste time in argument of the means. It's almost like if you want to cross a river, there are several boats over there. Which boat is better? The boat which can take you on the other side of the shore where you want to go. Okay? And only one boat. If you keep on hopping from boat to boat, you're wasting time. One boat. Stick to it. Okay? Boat is again the means, not the end. Not the end. Number 3. Manev nirantar sarvagatam. He a vishal vihin param. Manaha ev nirantar sarv shivam. मनसः अपि कथं वचसः च कथं. Man is mind. Ev means alone. Nirantra, eternal. And over here, eternal means undivided, continuous, nirantra. Sarv is all, gatam, permitting. He means indeed, avishal, infinite. Vishal is finite. So when we say vishal, it's big. So it's a finite. Vishal is infinite. Vihin, absence. Param is supreme. Man, mind. Ev, indeed. Nirantar, eternal. Sarv, all. Shivam, blissful. Manasaha, with mind. Api means even. Katham, how. Vachasaha, with speech, like a vachana. Vachasaha. Cha means and, katham, how. So Dattatreya is saying truly that intelligence is eternal and omnipresent. Okay, so intelligence over here means God. And devoid of vastness and minuteness. Okay. Vast or minute will be something which is physical. It is beyond that. If that intelligence is the indivisible supreme beatitude, how can one grasp it with the mind or express it through speech? No language can talk about it. No matter how sophisticated a speaker is, cannot talk about it. This is not something we talk about. This is something which we are. So we have to experience it. Because mind and speech, they both are part of the Prakriti. And Prakriti is finite. How can a finite express infinite? Only the pointers. When we even talk about it, when we read about it, these are only the pointers towards that truth. Because we do need the pointers. Otherwise, our mind just stays into the finite. So with the help of these pointers, we just go inward. And then ultimately we experience. Din Ratri Vibhed Nirakarn. Uditaha Uditanuditasya he Nirakarnam. Yadi cha ek nirantra sarva shivam. Ravi Chandramasau Jwalanaha cha katham. Din is the day, Ratri is night. Vibhed, difference. Nirakaran, negation of, like a refuted. Uditanuditasya, rising and descending. Udit anuditasya. Nirakarnam, negation of. Yadi means if, cha means and, ek means one, nirantra, eternal, sarv, all, shivam, blissful, Ravi, sun, Chandramasau, moon, Jwalanaha, fire, Cha means and, Katham means how. There is no division of day and night, or sunrise and sunset. Okay, so rising and descending is sunrise and sunset. So there's no division of day and night or sunrise and sunset in the self-luminous Brahman. This is all part of the Prakriti, and we know that now. If it alone is the indivisible supreme beatitude, how can the sun, the moon, or fire illumine it? Okay, so we see that our earth gets illumined because of the sun. Or in our own homes, at night we illumine, bring the light with the help of the electricity or any other kind of a candle. And that's what the fire he talks about. But he says, none of these can illumine the Paramatma, the Brahm, the Atma. That's why it's called self-luminous. Self-luminous. Doesn't need anything from outside. And we are familiar with that term from other scriptures also. Gat kam vikam vibhed iti. Gat cheshta vichesht vibhed iti. Yadi cha ek nirantra sarv shivam bahi antra vinmati cha katham. Gat means gone. Kam means desire. Vikam, lack of desire. Vibhed, division or distinction. Iti means thus. Again, gat means gone. Chest, efforts. Vichest, lack of efforts. Vibhed, division or distinction. Iti means thus. Yadi, if. Cha means and. Ek means one. Nirantra, eternal. Sarv means all. That means all permitting. Shivam, bliss. Bahi, outside. Antra, inside. Vinmati, the consciousness differentiated by. Cha means and, katham means how. The distinction of desire and desirelessness. Action and inaction. Chest, vichest. Are completely lacking in Brahma. Okay? So who does the actions? The Prakriti part in us. Where are the desires? In our mind. That's also part of Prakriti. Not in the Atma. Atma doesn't do anything. Atma doesn't desire anything. It just is. So the distinction of desire and desirelessness, action and inaction are completely lacking in Brahma. Remember, completely lacking. Not even a minuteness in it. If Brahma alone is the indivisible supreme beatitude, how can there be any conception of exterior and interior? Right? Normally we say, no, it's inside. It's everywhere, outside too. Up, down, every direction and in between the direction. Everywhere. Now you can see that we really act ignorant when we talk about that God is in that direction. Or godly activities should be done according to this time. Shubha Muhurat. Every time is good, every direction is good. To remember that. Otherwise, we are limiting our scope. We are asking to put limitations on our own self. On one hand, we want to become one with the infinite, and then we are just putting these limitations on us. Yadi sar visar vihin iti, yadi shunye vishunye vihina iti, yadi cha ek nirantra sarv shivam Prathamam cha katham, charmam cha katham. Yadi means if, sar means essence. Visar, non-essence. Vihin, absence of. Iti means thus. Yadi means if. Shunya, void. Vishunya, lack of void. Vihin, absence of. Iti thus. Yadi if. Cha means and. Ek means one. Nirantra, eternal. Sarv, all. Shivam, bliss. Prathamam. Pratham means first or initial or primary. Cha means and. Katham, how. Charmam. Charam means last or ultimate. When we say charam, charam sima, last, ultimate. Cha means and, katham means how. So what does it mean? Brahm is devoid of expansion and contraction. That's what essence and non-essence means. Fullness and emptiness. Shunya and Vishunya. If Brahm alone is the indivisible supreme beatitude, where can one put it at first or last? How can we say that Brahm starts from here and it ends there? Okay, there's no beginning, there's no end. That's what infinite means. Okay. So everywhere, no place where it's not. This is he's trying to bring our attention to, because this is what he's experiencing in his samadhi. Dattatreya. Yadi bhed vibhed nirakarnam. Yadi vedak vedye nirakarnam. Yadi cha ek nirantra sarv shivam. Tritiyam cha katham turiyam cha katham. Yadi means if. Bhed means division. Vibhed, non-division. Nirakarnam, denying or refuting. Yadi means if. Vedak, knower. Vedye, to be known. Looks like we have a question before I go on. Manju, you have a question? I see the hand raised, right? No? So Nirakarna. Yeah, Manju, you have a question?
Hanji, I have a question, Herji. Namaste, Herji.
Namaste.
Okay, the way I'm understanding, I'm a little bit confused. Here he's saying that Brahman is everything, right?
Mhm.
So, and then in his meditation, he's saying that that is all and everything.
Mhm.
Then, and when we read in Gita, it says so that then who I am praying to. Then in Gita, it says then that is the duality, and in this one, it's saying that he is the Brahm and he is the ultimately he will be the Brahm and he is kind of seeing Brahm. Everybody is in Brahman.
Yeah.
So thoda sa ye confusion hai. So then who we are praying to? Who we are praying? If I am Brahman myself, my Atma is there, then who is praying who?
Okay. In the initial stages, we are praying to God.
Okay.
Okay, we are praying to God because we have not merged yet.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I'll always tell you that there are 3 stages
Mm-hmm.
of a Bhagat.
Right.
I am his.
Right.
That means I belong to him.
Mm-hmm.
I am a small speck and he is everything. I am his. Then
So
when the Bhagat
duality.
goes little up,
Mm-hmm.
a little more elevated, Bhagat says, he's mine.
Right.
Okay. So that's like with more sadhana. He is mine. I can say that he is mine. And then little bit more up where Avadhuta ji is, Dattatreya ji say, he says, Aham Brahmasmi.
Right.
He and I are same.
Right.
Okay. So in the initial stages, sure, you need to meditate. You need to pray also, and you are praying to God. Duality is there at that point. This non-duality comes when we have transcended all our layers. Then there's no prayer anyway. That's
So
why
at that time, bhakti yoga or anything doesn't need, you don't need jnana yoga,
yeah,
jnana yoga or bhakti yoga or
nothing.
anything.
Exactly. Then there's nothing. Even though maybe a guru or Lord Krishna, when he came, or avatars, they do it, but they know that they are not the doer. They are doing it just to teach us that we need to do it.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
So this is
because
an internal state of mind.
right. I get always confused
Yeah.
that Gita says that duality, that
Yeah.
you pray
No,
me and
Gita,
you can
Gita
come to
also,
me.
yeah, Gita also
Yeah.
says, yeah, sure, we have to start from duality.
So that is a beginning stage.
That is a
So
beginning.
this is a very advanced stage. Okay,
This is
got
very
it.
advanced. This is a position where a person has transcended, and Lord Krishna does talk about this in certain chapters. Okay, but he understands. That's why Gita is considered a very practical scripture for people
Right.
who are starting out, who wants to, it's like a textbook.
So basically, this book is after Gita. So when the Bhagat comes to that point, after that, this thing inner journey starts from here.
Yeah, that's right. You are right. Very first is Bhagavad-Gita.
Right.
The second,
Right.
in my opinion, is Ashtavakra Gita.
Mm-hmm.
And then third one is Avadhuta Gita.
Right. Right.
Okay.
So these are all different stages it's going through.
Yes.
So
Definitely.
basically, then a bhakti or gyan or nothing is there. It's just kind of your inner experience when you see everything is one.
Yes, everything is one, and outside we may see a person going through the bhakti and gyan and all those practices, but internally he's constantly connected, whether he is doing bhakti or not. Outer bhakti, I'm talking about the sadhana. The person is constantly connected, constantly aware of the Atma as Brahma.
And in the end, he is going to be that whatever we call it, the Brahm, we call it, I mean, energy or whatever we call it, he becomes one with that. He is one already
He's
with
already,
that.
he is a Jivan Mukta, he is already there. These limitations don't bind him at all. Whether it's thrown into the, you remember in Ashtavakra Gita, there was a simile used. This kind of a person at this stage is just like if you step on somebody's shadow, that person doesn't get hurt. So this person is just like that. You can praise or rebuke. He understands this is just a shadow. No effect at all.
Yeah.
Or he also gives us the example in there that like if you put a garland in a cow's neck, what happens to cow?
Nothing.
No effect.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So this is what happens. No effect whatsoever. Because person understands I am the Atman, I'm one with Brahma.
Yes.
So,
because it was just going on in my mind from last so many months. I was kind of confused between the two. So no, you clarified. Thank you very much.
Good. I'm glad. I'm glad. Okay. So number 7, we are saying, or he is saying, we are just reading it. He says, with regard to Brahma, the ideas of difference and sameness. Oh, I didn't even go through all the word meaning. So let me just start and finish the word meanings first. Yadi means if, bhed means division, vibhed non-division. Nirakarnam, denying or refuting, Yadi means if, Vedak, knower, Vedye, to be known, Nirakarnam, denying. Yadi means if, Cha means and, Ek means one. Nirantra, eternal. Sarv, all. Shivam, bliss. Tritiam. See, Tritiya is a third, right? So over here it means the third state of consciousness. Cha means and, Katham means how. Turiyam, fourth state of consciousness. Okay, being students of yoga, we are familiar with these terms. The first state of consciousness is what? The waking state. Jagrat avastha. Second state of consciousness, that is a swapan, okay, sleeping state. The third state which he talks about over here is a deep sleep. In Sanskrit, it's called sushupti avastha. And fourth state, turiyam, that is a samadhi avastha. Okay. Cha means and, katham means how. So Dattatreya is saying with regard to Brahma, the ideas of difference and sameness, knower and the knowable, are denied. If Brahma alone is the indivisible, supreme beatitude, how can there be the third state, the sleep state, or the fourth state, the transcendental state? Because those states are also, they are differentiated according to the experience, and this kind of a person is experiencing oneness continuously. In the waking state also, this rishi is looking at Brahma. In the dream state also, only Brahma. In the deep sleep also, Brahma. And in Turiya state also, Brahma. So this is from that Dattatreya's or Avadhuta's point of view. How can there be a distinction? Because he says if Brahma alone is indivisible, it's not indivisible only up there somewhere. It's indivisible everywhere all the time. That's why it's called Sat. Sat is something which does not change from the past to the present to the future. So from this point of view, he's talking about from his experience, he's saying all of this. Let's end the class here, and because we always end this class with meditation. So let me do the Shanti mantra. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you very much. So if anybody has any question,